Welcome, Soul Tribe, to Deep Soul Awakenings with your hosts, Chastity Ryan and Millie Franco. Get ready to shed some light on the unspoken aspects of spiritual and healing journeys.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to this week's episode of Deep Soul Awakening. I'm your host, Millie Franco. So I actually just realized that I posted an episode last week and that I wasn't due for an episode this week, but if I'm here and I'm ready, I'm going to go with it because that lets me know that I should be. So I want to start doing things a little bit differently and start just delivering messages starting with awareness of the things that are going on in our world, in our space, the things that have gone on. So one of the many things that I wanted to just touch on is something that went on in Puerto Rico, essentially, because I feel like many of us come from places where we were the indigenous culture, and now we're living in cities like cities like New York, where we are essentially just detached from our lands, detached from our cultures, detached from connection to spirit and nature and all of these things. And we're trying to relearn. But I feel like in relearning all of these things and remembering all of these things in the concept of indigeneity and the path, returning to that, or even just a path of going back to our authentic selves and connecting to spirit and being who we are and remembering who we are and really understanding and resonating with the fact that we are spirit in a human existence. I feel like there's a lot of things that we need to talk about. So one of the things that I wanted to speak of was something that happened in Puerto Rico in the 1930s. So for those of you that don't know, in the 1930s, the women of Puerto Rico were pushed into essentially sterilizations as a means of contraception. And from what I can see from unidosUS.org, there between 1947 and 1948, there were about 7% of Puerto Rican women that were sterilized. And by 1956, 1 out of 3 women suffered the same fate. So I really want you guys to look at your families, especially those of you who are Puerto Rican, and to really just think about, 1 out of 3 women. So count all of the women in your family. And if you were alive in the 1930s, or if this was the 1930s, and who even knows if this is honestly going on now, today, because the contraception that we have is essentially poison to so many women's bodies and creates so many different things, including like blood clots that can kill them. So it's like 1 out of 3 women. So imagine, if this were your family, would you even be alive today? And then to think, how many people in your family did this actually happen to? For those of you that are Puerto Rican or are of any other cultures, because this isn't only something that happened there. This is something that's been happening to many women around the world for God knows how long. And it essentially, the push behind this was because it was a way that they thought that they could prevent greater poverty and population rates. And this is something that the US did. And it's just like, you come into this space, you take over this space, and then you decide that its women need to be sterilized in order to prevent poverty. Like, to me, that just sounds crazy. So to prevent poverty, you're going to sterilize women and take away their rights to have children. But yet, where's the real help? Because you're coming into a place that essentially these people are indigenous to and not providing help, but the help that you provide is taking away their ability to have children. And that to me is just crazy, because when you really think about Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico to me is much like Hawaii, where now it's become a place where it relies on tourism and it relies on, imports. And this is a tropical island. Essentially, we should be able to grow food in these places. And I know that there have been different groups within Puerto Rico. And if any of you guys know the name of these groups and can let me know, I would be super, super appreciative, because I would definitely like to know more, that are going into abandoned places within Puerto Rico and cleaning out the spaces and creating like community gardens in order to feed the community that is there, the Puerto Ricans, the indigenous people of the island, in order to feed them. But one of the issues that they're running into now is that these places that have been abandoned for so long, that they've essentially taken ownership of and revamped to feed the Puerto Rican people. Now there are people who are land developers who are buying these properties and essentially trying to take away these things that were built. And it's like I struggle with the basis of, what gives them the right to do that? And what gives anybody the right to take away the land from its people? To me, it's just crazy. And then I had read something else too, where, there are beaches that are being blocked off by people who are buying houses, and resort areas that are being blocked off, and essentially it's being considered like private beaches where the people can't come onto, or there is no access to. And it's like, but what gives anybody ownership of the beaches? What gives anybody the right to own the beaches and say that it's Native people can't use them? To me, it's just crazy, because when did it come to a point where essentially the gentrifiers were in control of all of the places that are due to its indigenous people? And I don't know, to me, it just feels so crazy, because I know that my family specifically left Puerto Rico because they thought that the US would give a better life. And then they came here, and most of them lived in poverty. Most of them worked in factories. And I mean, honestly, I'm not sure if the better life was here, because we shifted to living in New York City, and we shifted to living a life where there was a disconnect from nature, a disconnect from spirit, where we don't even have access to nature, not really. And then the beaches that we have here are so dirty that a lot of people don't even go. The rivers are a whole different story. The rivers are completely contaminated. So it's like we came here and we lost that connection to find a better life. But it's essentially kind of like, at what price did that come? Y'all, if y'all can hear my phone ringing in the background, I apologize. I do not know how to edit that out yet, or essentially I am a one-woman show, so please give me time to figure out all those things. But back to what I was talking about. I feel like there is a real disconnect, and I've essentially been put into this life where everything is a rush. Families aren't together. Time is considered limited, and things are considered a waste of time, especially like just being and breathing and spending time with your family. And like, we're in this place where the perception of jobs is that the job should take up most of your time, and that it's okay for you to spend 10, 12 hours at your job and be taken away from your family, because that means essentially that you're successful. And it's like these jobs own your life. You're taxed on taxed money. And it's like, is this really a life though? Is it really? Because I've been able to be home with my boys this week, and I've been able to just be with them, and we've been able to just live, and we haven't paid attention to time. And we've just gone with the flow of it. And we've gone with like the timing of the sunset and all of those things. And it's just been so much more beautiful. We've just spent so much more quality time together where we've just been able to just kind of be in love with each other. And don't get me wrong, raising children is hard and it's never perfect. But it's like I see such a shift in them when I'm able to spend uninterrupted time with them and not have to worry about work, where it's like the connection grows and we feel more connected, and it's beautiful. And something else that I want to just mention to put on everyone's radar is also the red handprint. I know that for a lot of you who stroll on social media, you've probably seen a video of an Indigenous woman with a red handprint on her face. And I just want to let everybody know, for those of you that don't know any of the background, it is a sign for solidarity with the missing and murdered Indigenous women, the MMIW. And essentially, the red hand over the mouth is a symbol for the movement, and it stands for all of the missing sisters whose voices are not heard. So it pretty much stands for all of the missing and murdered Indigenous women that have not been found, that are not receiving the media coverage or the help it is that they are needing. Essentially, all of these women are going missing or being murdered, and there's no outrage. There's no media coverage. There's nothing on this. And it's like, it's crazy to me, because it's like all of these things are happening. Sorry, I get emotional. All of these things are happening all over the place, even with the wildfires, and people are coming and taking land. People are murdering Indigenous women. There's children that are going missing, our brown and black children are going missing at alarming fucking rates. And women are being murdered or literally just like fucking stolen at alarming rates, and there is no real media coverage on all of this. And the craziest part to me is like something like Burning Man, where people went to party and are stranded for a couple days on a beach, that is receiving so much mass media coverage. But something like thousands of women going missing or being murdered, sterilization of women, missing children, all of these things are not receiving media coverage. And it really should, and I say all of this because it should really make you question what's actually being covered and what's actually being pushed. And then the other thing that I wanted to speak about was the concept of the 15-minute cities. So I'm going to read something off from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation that just gives like a brief understanding of what it is. So the 15-minute city is an urban planning concept where neighborhoods provide residents with the basic things they need: shops, schools, parks, leisure options, healthcare, within a 15-minute radius by foot or by bike. So now, in theory, it sounds like a good idea because everything you need is located within a 15-minute walk or bike ride. But for somebody like me who lives in New York City, this is already the norm for us. Everything for me, where I live within New York, in Brooklyn, everything is 15 minutes away by bike, walking, or train. But then the thing about this that really gets to me is that, they make it sound like it's such a good thing and like it's going to be so great for the community. But my question is, where are these 15-minute cities being made? Who is it that's living in the space where these 15-minute communities are going to be made? Is this low-income people? Is this middle-income people? Or is this higher income people? Where are these cities being made? What space is being used for these cities? And then, I would imagine that it would be highly sought after. So if it's highly sought after, essentially it's going to be expensive. So it's, going to have high property value. So who is actually going to benefit from these 15-minute cities? And if they're being built in the spaces that occupy low-income neighborhoods, for those people that have been in these low-income neighborhoods in these different spaces for generations, where are those people going to go when the people come in who are going to gentrify these spaces in these 15-minute cities? Where do they go to? Where do they end up? And I feel like it's literally just different versions of colonization all around. If it's not the indigenous people being attacked, it's the low-income people being attacked. And let's be fucking honest, a lot of the low-income people are the displaced indigenous people from various fucking lands. So how is any of this good for us, really? And where's the media coverage of this stuff that is letting people know that it's being done? I know that there are some examples of the 15-minute cities, if you guys want to look them up, in Paris, Barcelona, and Copenhagen. I would really urge everybody to look into this more deeply so that you can have an understanding of what it is and whether or not it's going to come to a space that is near you. Because the question is the people who live in that space, the people who live on that land, where do they go from there? I say all of these things, and I want to bring awareness to all of these things because I feel like for a lot of us, we're born into these lives where there's generational trauma and there's so many patterns, and for a lot of us, I know for me especially, like, I didn't ever think that a life different than the life that I was living was possible. To me, success was becoming a director of a program. Becoming a director of a program in New York City means essentially that program becomes your life. You don't have any time for your kids. You don't have any time for your family because you're always working. And even when you're not on the clock, you're on the clock because you're still being emailed and asked questions and people need access to you 24/7. And that to me was success. And now, and being this person that I am and embarking on a spiritual path, I realize that is not what I want at all. That doesn't serve my spirit. That doesn't feed my spirit, nor does it feed the spirit of my children. To me, all of the work that I've been doing and reopening my heart space, because I was also a person whose heart space was closed. I was detached, essentially. I could give love to the best of my ability, but I couldn't receive love. And I would give at the sacrifice of myself. But I wasn't able to receive it because my heart space was closed, because I didn't feel like essentially I was worthy of any love. And I was waiting for somebody to come and show me that I was worthy of it, or worthy of help, or compassion, or empathy for that matter. And I feel like because we are so disconnected from our homelands, from their wisdom, from our ancestors, we lose sight of the value that we have because we live in places where there's no value placed on us. Literally, it's like, we're shifted out of our homes, we're shifted out of our communities and all of our spaces, like if we have no worth, because those that have worth are the ones that have the money. And that's fucking ludicrous to me, because every life is worthy. Every being is worthy. And I say being because the animals and the trees and all of these things also have value and should be treated as such. But we live in a time and place where all of the value is placed on money and material things, and we forget the true essence of value. And for a long time, I kind of thought, well, I've been dealt this hand of cards, so I kind of have to just move with it. And, I wasn't always the nicest person, because I grew up with the saying, hurt people hurt people. So to me, that was my excuse to hurt people. You hurt me, so I hurt you. That's the pattern. And now it's like, I don't want to be a person that hurts people. People do things because they are projections of the energy that they are. And a lot of times people hurt people because they are hurt themselves inside. But I don't want to add to that. I don't want to contribute to that. I want to honor myself and honor the love that I have inside and the love that's in my heart, and be a person that shows compassion. Be a person that shows love. These are the things that I find that feed my spirit. Like I give tarot readings, and I'm learning to give bone readings, and I have conversations with my spiritual community consistently, and even with some of you that I've found online. And I always come with a full heart of love and compassion, and I always speak from my heart space. Because these are the things that feed my spirit. These are the things that feed my soul. And the other day, well, maybe a week or so ago, 2 weeks or so ago, I've been taking these classes, and one of the spirit ecology by Kale Kalakahi, and one of the homeworks that he gave was to see the sunrise. And I'm 38 years old, and I sat there and I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I have never consciously watched the sunrise. And it was crazy because I'm like, I've been out with the sunrise so many times. But then I thought to myself, holy shit, you know what? I've never been out and sober with the sunrise. I'd always been out drunk or partying or doing something that I had no freaking business doing, honestly. That I had never actually stopped to see the sunrise. And 2 or so weeks ago, I found myself in ceremony, and I found myself sitting in circle, speaking and sharing medicine from my heart, because I will always speak from my heart. Like I tell everybody all the time, one thing about me, I'm going to cry and I'm going to speak. I cry for those who can't cry, to help to transmute the energy. And I speak from my heart so that it resonates with those who need to hear my words. And I just thanked everybody for being there with me and being in this moment where I actually consciously watched my first sunrise from a place inside, from an energy inside of my being, where I was genuinely happy and loving life and loving myself. And during that ceremony, I cried a lot because I thought of my mother. And it just made me wish that I could share this life with her, because it's so different than the life that she lived, than the life that I would imagine she thought was possible. But I know that I do all of these things, and I live this life so that I can shift my my generation and my lineage. And I do it with love. I do it for my boys. I do it for everyone, so that everyone can see that it's possible, and that a different life is possible. And I do this podcast with love so that I can speak on my journey, so that others can see that it's possible. I came from a place where I was so disconnected that I didn't even know how to hug and kiss my kids in a way that didn't feel weird to me. And now I'm in a place where I hug and kiss my kids all day. They tell me that they love me. I tell them I love them. I witness beautiful moments with them in presence that I was never aware of before. And I say this to say that, this journey is hard. It's not easy, but it is beautiful. When you come to a place where you're able to love yourself, it is beautiful. When you come to a place where you're no longer afraid of darkness, it is a gift. And I really, really hope that all of you are keeping with the path of healing. And if you ever need someone to talk to, please feel free to reach out to me. I always respond. Always. I know what it's like to feel like you have no one to speak to. I don't ever want anyone to feel like that. I want to create a community of like-minded people you know, especially parents who want to reconnect with their heart spaces, want to reconnect with presence, want to reconnect with nature. So if there are any of you out there who listen to my words who think, you know what, that resonates with me, that makes sense to me, I would encourage you to reach out to me so that we can connect. Everybody needs community. And for a lot of us, the communities that we have when we're on a healing journey don't necessarily resonate with the people that we are becoming. Because we are shifting, we are changing, we are becoming new people. You know, a lot of times the communities that we had also get upset because, you know, the person that they love, the person that they're used to, doesn't exist anymore. So it's like a sense of mourning all around. But there is such a beautiful space in presence and in living, really living, where you don't turn to alcohol anymore to have fun or drugs of any kind or anything like that, you know. And you really just start to be present and enjoy the moments and enjoy your life and enjoy yourself and really love yourself. And I promise that it's possible for everybody. And for those of you who don't have access to nature, you know, something that I do is I'll go sit by the pier and just enjoy the water. I talk to the trees outside my house. I know that's a little bit much. Maybe some of you are not ready for that yet. But it is definitely helpful. I look for the birds outside. I make eye contact with them. I look for the butterflies and all of the beautiful things, all of the beautiful connections in nature. I look at the flowers and enjoy their colors. There's so many ways that we can connect. And when you start to seek that connection, it starts to also seek you. What you are seeking is also seeking you. And you can do this. I know that it's hard. And I know sometimes we get flung into darkness and we don't know how to gather our footing. But in those moments where you're flung into darkness, I beg of you, sit and just embrace it. Allow yourself to just sit a moment and feel the feelings and be in it and see what that darkness is telling you, because I promise it has a message. And when you sit and stop fighting, it becomes a lot easier to find your light again. So until next time, guys, I say this with so much love, and I'll talk to you all soon. Be kind to yourself. Peace. What's up, y'all? Millie from Phoenix Moon Apothecary. I am here to give your reads for the week of September 4th to September 10th. So I've already shuffled and did my little prayer, so I'm just gonna go right into it because I'm hoping to actually make this video less than 10 minutes. So I ask Great Spirit, my elevated ancestors, my elevated spirit guides, what messages do you have for the collective for the week of 9/4 to 9/10? Okay, so the first card that I pulled is the Queen of Rods. So the Queen of Rods is, in my opinion, one of my favorite cards. She's like beautiful and dressed in yellow, and to me yellow is really like the color of the sun and luxury, and like it makes me think of gold and just all beautiful things, like super bright light type of things. And I feel like right now we are really embodying the energy of just coming into ownership of ourselves, you know, like really being confident in understanding that we are allowed to be ourselves. We are allowed to be our own people. We are allowed to think for ourselves. We are allowed to have better fucking lives and sovereignty of the mind. What this card is really saying to me right now is that, you know, embrace this new version of yourself. We have done so much work. We have done the work. We've been flung into the darkness. We have essentially faced a lot of the shit that we were holding inside. We've transmuted a lot of energy. We have also stood in that time of transition where it kind of felt like nothing was moving and we were getting a little anxious, but we were able to kind of wait it out and allow things to process and allow things to move. And now we are on the other side of that. Like the next chapter has started, the page has been turned, and we're on this new page, and we are allowing ourselves to embrace becoming the embodiment of all of the inner work that we've done. And, I know sometimes we struggle because old thought patterns like to kind of pop up to see if you've really healed those things. But in those moments, show yourself grace. If you see yourself falling into a pattern, but then you become aware of it, hey, guess what? You've become aware of it. So you can kind of shift it. You can transmute that energy to kind of continue that move and that shift to becoming the embodiment of a more confident person, of a wiser person, of a person who is truthful with themselves. Because to me, one of the most important things that we need to do with ourselves is we need to be honest with ourselves. If you're not honest with yourself, who can you be honest with? And I feel like this card within this position of the mindset really lets us know that we're really embracing that. We are embracing that we are spirit in a human existence and kind of rolling with it at this point. We are embodying like the mystic, the oracle, the super powerful spirit beings that we know that we are. And to me, there's just something so beautiful in that. We're blooming. We've planted all of these seeds, we've watered them consistently, we've been in the sunlight, and now we're blooming. And for a lot of us, I feel like, just the hints of yellow in this card really embodies the fact that, we've transitioned. We've transitioned from those beings who were more comfortable with the moonlight to those beings who are now within the sunlight. We are light. We are soaking in those light codes. We are soaking in the sunlight. We are soaking in healing. And we're transforming. And we are no longer the same versions of ourselves that we were. So I say this to say, fuck yeah, you did it. Embrace this side of yourself. This is you. You don't need to doubt it. You've become this beautiful person. You've become this embodiment of all of the work that you've been doing. And it's a great thing. You deserve happiness. And this is where essentially it starts, and it started within you. You found happiness, and it was with you the whole time, and you found it within yourself. But look at you. Things are beautiful. You're seeing the beauty in everything. And that in itself is just something so much to celebrate. For the subconscious card, we got the moon, which I feel like it's so funny. So what this is really saying is, the work is never done because you are the work. So in those moments where you feel like you feel misaligned, or you're not feeling like yourself, or you're feeling like you're caught in an old thought pattern or an old way of thinking, allow yourself to reflect, allow yourself to go inside to understand where this is coming from. A lot of times when this happens, when we are triggered, when things start to pop up, when old patterns start to creep up, it's because there's something that we haven't faced. There's something that's sitting below the surface that wants to come out. There's some stagnant energy that is looking to be shifted, transmuted. Allow yourself to show yourself grace, but also to be able to kind of continue the work within yourself, continue to gain the understanding of self. Everything is not unicorn and rainbows. Everything is not always light. We are a duality of light and darkness. For me, the goal is to be able to walk in between that path of light and dark. So you're kind of walking in the middle so that you have that understanding. And sometimes we shift from side to side. Sometimes we go more dark. Sometimes we go more light. But there's value in all of it. There's always value. The darkness to me is a gift, because the darkness allows you to see that there is energy that is stagnant that needs to be transmuted. So understand that you're becoming this beautiful embodiment of yourself, where you're feeling more aligned, you're feeling more connected to spirit, connected to source, connected to nature. But the work is always going to be there, and the work is going to continue, because we are the work. We have had years and years and years of conditioning, years and years of disconnect that we are working through and unlearning. And that's not going to happen in a year. It's not going to happen in 2 years. It's going to take time. But understand that you are so, so worth all of the time that it takes. And then the next card that I have is the Hermit. So the Hermit is in the past position, and I also love this card because the Hermit is essentially a card of inner reflection and your higher self, and just understanding, who it is that you are, and really honoring yourself, but also honoring your craft. And I feel like right now, we are really leaning on that. We're leaning on all of the work that we've done. We're leaning on the reflection that we've done. We're leaning on the times where we have chosen to choose ourselves and not necessarily isolate, but to hold ourselves as sacred and not give everyone access to our energy at all times. And I feel like this card being in the past influence shows us that we are in a place where we are definitely holding ourselves sacred, because we are understanding that if we're feeling off, or we're feeling out of alignment, or if we're feeling whatever we're feeling, it's not because anything is wrong with us. Nothing is wrong with us. Nothing will ever be wrong with you. But we're using this space to be like, okay, there's something that I need to reflect on. There's something that I need to sit with. There's something that's sitting beneath the surface that needs to be acknowledged and healed, or needs to be transmuted and shifted. And that's a beautiful thing, because it's at the point where you're really understanding and understanding yourself and your spirit, and who you are as a person, who you are as a spirit, who you are as a being. And that is beautiful. All of this is beautiful. This work that you've been doing is amazing. For the future influence, I got the Knight of Rods. And the Knight of Rods I love because he's looking to the past, but he is to me a symbol of growth. You have grown so much within this journey that you have done. No matter how long it has been, you have changed and transformed and transmuted yourself into this person that now you enjoy being. You're loving yourself. You're appreciating yourself. You're appreciating the moment. You're present in the moment. You're noticing the little things. You're seeing the blessings. You're embracing them. And in doing this, you are really just becoming this person who is powerful, because you are powerful. You're embracing this power within yourself. You're realizing that you can call your power back to you. You're realizing that you can transmute your energy. You're realizing that at the end of the day, you are born to lead, but born to lead in the sense that you are here to show others that it is possible to change your life and be your authentic self. Because in doing the work, in being yourself, in understanding what it means to be your authentic self, you are showing others what the work is, how to do the work, and how to find their own medicine. You essentially are the medicine and sharing this medicine with others, and they are finding the medicine within themselves, and things are shifting and transforming and changing, and it is beautiful. It is powerful. Allow yourself to step into this new version of yourself. Allow yourself to lead with your heart space, to lead with the knowing that things are getting better. They're going to continue to get better, and you are in control. And I say in control because you are in control of where you place your energy. You're in control of what you give energy to. You're in control of what you don't give energy to. You're in control of your vibration. You're in control of the actions that you take. And that's beautiful. You've made it so freaking far. Congratulate yourself. For our shadow card, I laugh because this comes out continuously. It's the Knight of Rods. And the Knight of Rods is looking to the future. He's also dressed in yellow. It's like vivacious and eagerness and just ready to go. But again, I will say this again for myself and for all of you. You need a plan. You need to sit, write things down, decide where it is that you want to go. If you don't know where you want to go, that's fine. Decide what it is that feeds your spirit and how it is that you would like to share those gifts. And that can be your plan. Once you know your why and your how, you can kind of keep it moving with the knowing that you're going to get to where you need to be. The path is already laid out for you. You just need to be able to find your way. But sometimes in transformation, we become too eager. We become too headstrong. We want to just jump at the opportunity. And what Spirit is saying, yes, be eager, but also have a plan. Don't go into this in the ways that you've gone into it before without a plan and just jumping head first. You know better than that now. Act like it. So my elevated ancestors, what messages do you have for the collective? We're going to stop. So we have open road and completion. So this essentially says to me, we have done it. Exactly like my card pull. We've done it. We've transformed. We've transitioned. We are on this beautiful new chapter. We are the embodiment of all of the things that we've learned. We're learning to essentially be these new people that we've become and embrace it. The road is open. The road is there and waiting for you. You just need to find your way. It's kind of like the path has been created. Now you need to find the way. But remember, we inherently know how to navigate. We inherently have so much wisdom. We have so much of our ancestors' wisdom stored within our DNA, within our bones. Allow yourself to tap into that. Allow yourself to remember your greatness. Remember your power. Remember your ancestors. Remember how hard your ancestors fought for you to be able to be who you are, and embrace that. Honey, the sky is the limit, literally. Where is it that you want to go? Dream big. If you could do anything in this world, what would it be? If you could decide to, have a source of income that feeds your spirit, what would you be bringing to the collective? You're allowed to decide what it is that you get to do, and you know this now. So allow yourself to create that plan and go with it, because you are definitely supported, and it is definitely aligned, and you are ready to do great things. So until next time, send all of you so much love. Peace.
Thanks for listening to this episode and continuing on this journey with us. Be sure to join our growing communities on Facebook and Instagram. We can't wait to have you back with us next week. Thank you for allowing us to be your voice. Until next time, remember to take care and be kind to yourself.